Jan Schramik is betting on California, not only for his future but others.
I know we've doubled down on California at a time when a lot of other people have given up on the state.
He and a group of billionaire investors want to create a new city in Solano County from the ground up. They call the project California Forever. The renderings of the proposed city look like something out of a fictional book. Streets without cars, children on bikes, people on kayaks, neighbors gathered at their local coffee shop. It would be a solar-powered community.
Where your kids can walk to school and you can walk to a grocery store or to a restaurant, ideally to your work as well. And it is built in a much more environmentally friendly and sustainable way where it relies more on transit and less on cars, and it has a much smaller environmental footprint.
Schramik is a former Goldman Sachs trader who lived many years in Europe and has long had a fascination with walkable cities. He and his family actually moved to Fairfield in September, his value of work-life balance now spilling over into his proposal.
My wife and I are young parents, and if we had to commute an hour and a half every day, we would never see our kids for breakfast or for dinner. You only get to tell your 2-year-old a bedtime story 365 days in your life, and then it's gone.
He sat down with ABC10 for one of the rare television interviews he's granted in 7 years on the project.
About 6-7 years ago, I discovered this site and got to know Solano County, and eventually had the idea that you could build one of them here in a way that would really bring up the whole community and be a real asset to Solano County.
The name of the company the investors formed is Flannery Associates. Now, Schramik wants to set the record straight about his intentions, which have been called into question by many.
We never had the intention of building a city next to Travis Air Force Base. We started buying property far away from the base. Eventually we acquired property close to the base because we wanted to be able to work with the base to protect it and to strengthen it. And we felt that if we were doing a large project in the kind of 5 or 10 miles away from the base, then we would want to control the property next to the base as well.
You've been buying land for over 5 years. Why the initial secrecy?
We wanted to prevent the situation where if we announced the plans prematurely, there would be this reckless speculation rush. And then the county would be dealing with lots of different people proposing lots of different projects, and it would result in disorderly growth and sprawl.
Do you regret the way that you went about it?
No, we've been very methodical about it from the beginning, and we've been very responsive to government agencies when they've come in and they ask us to confirm that there was no Chinese involvement.
Schramik says the company revealed their investors a year ago when the government asked, made up of LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, American entrepreneur Mark Anderson, and Laurene Powell Jobs, Apple co-founder Steve Jobs' widow. But multiple lawmakers, including Congressman John Garamendi, Congressman Mike Thompson, and Senator Bill Dodd, all told ABC10 in August they were unclear on the project and they didn't meet Jan Schramik until later that month.
Were there lies? Was there misinformation? Did the plan change over time?
Absolutely not.
To give you an idea of the scope of this project, 52,000 acres is twice the size of the city of Elk Grove and larger than the city of Stockton. Schramik says they're done purchasing land and are on to the next step, a listening tour in surrounding cities.
I think that the biggest misconception that's out there right now is that there's community opposition to the project.
But there are doubts.
I can't overstate just how widespread this impulse is amongst tech leaders to build new cities from scratch. Some of the founders of the most prominent tech companies have proposed building new cities from scratch in recent years. Google's Larry Page, Tesla's Elon Musk.
Molly Turner teaches at UC Berkeley School of Business. She says tech investors prefer to start from scratch, but struggle with making the idea a reality. Schramik says California Forever is not like prior tech utopian ideas looking to stand alone.
We think that government in Solano County is very well run, the county is very well run. We have no plans to build any kind of utopia or any kind of city with different governments. We would love to build a great community that is in unincorporated Solano County for a long time, run by the county. It pays taxes to the county.
And with California Forever set to be a commuter's refuge, attracting people from the Bay Area and Valley regions, traffic and carbon footprint are a top concern. Zachary Lamb also teaches at UC Berkeley. His expertise is city planning and urban design with climate change.
Do you have a good, clean, reliable water supply? Do you have a good power supply? Do you have good transit access? And as far as I understand, none of that is there in this corner of Solano County.
Commuting out is part of the footprint. Another part of the footprint is how do people move around inside the city. And in many of the cities in California, a substantial part of the emissions is how people move inside the city. And if we build a city where people largely walk or bike or use public transit inside the city, that compensates for a lot of commuting.
For traffic, Schrammick says they want to use Highway 12 and 113 out of Dixon and Rio Vista to get to California Forever. Lamb says while the project is fascinating, he wishes the resources and creativity were put towards existing cities.
The feasibility of realizing a vision like what we've seen in those renderings, to me, strikes me as quite low.
Flannery Associates says they want to start from scratch for multiple reasons, including housing for a real estate market that has a short supply.
There's a lot of California families that are asking whether they're going to have a future in the state or whether they should leave. There's a lot of California companies that are reevaluating their footprint after COVID and thinking about are they going to stay. If California is going to build a big project that really makes a dent in many of these issues, now is the time to do it.
Flannery and Associates seems like Walt Disney and California Forever is your Tomorrowland.
I don't think that that's what we are looking to do. I mean, there's people who've kind of promised to reinvent urban living and they've promised to invent the cities of tomorrow. We would like to build a city of yesterday, if anything.